Welcome to today's fantastic tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to create this underwater guitarist or underwater musician scene in Adobe Photoshop. So let's get started. And before we go any further, I would like to request you to kindly subscribe to this channel if you have not already subscribed, because you are going to learn lots of things from this channel. And if you want to follow along, you can download the exercise files for this tutorial as well as my other latest tutorials by going to the link in the description section below. You will go to my website and there you need to create a free account, and then you will be having the access to all the resource files for all the tutorials. So let's get started. Let's take a new document 3000 by 1800 and press OK. And now let's bring in the background. So I am going to take this background, so I'm dragging it over here, and let me resize it to something like this. Okay, and press check mark or press enter and select the move tool and adjust it properly. And I think I need to scale it even further so that it get fixed over here. And now let's bring in the water background image. So I'm going to use this one, and let me drag it over here and drag it something like this and press enter. Okay, and let's bring it down. All right, and let's lower down the opacity of it. Let's see how it looks. Yes, now this one is looking good, and immediately with just few clicks we have made this underwater scene. All right, earlier it was a normal scene and we have made it a underwater scene. And let's bring in the turtle. So I'm going to use this turtle. I'm dragging it over here and resize it something like this. And let me place it over here, press enter, and let's try to change its layer blend mode to overlay or darken. No, it's not working. Multiply. We'll see if the layer blend mode can help. Otherwise we have to remove the background. And now I can see that these blend modes are not helping. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a selection of this. So I'm going to use the magnetic lasso tool, and I'll start moving over the edges, and it is going to create a path for us very easily. This one is very fast tool. With the help of this we can easily make selection, but your edges need to be sharper. All right, otherwise it's not going to give us the perfect result. All right, and let me make a selection of this area quickly. And by pressing shift, let me add this area as well, because it was left out from the selection. And yes, now it has been added, and over here as well. So I will press shift, and that way it is going to add to the selection. Okay, and you can see now, and you don't have to be precise with this one because this is not that sort of image. Sorry for my wrong pronunciation of S. Sometimes I pronounce it wrong. Okay, and now it's fine, and let's press the layer mask button, and it is going to mask it out for us. And let's refine it a little bit. Let's increase the feather a little bit and take the brush tool, make it smaller, and make sure the opacity is 100%, and start painting. Oh, sorry, we have to take the black color and make sure it is the softest brush with 0 hardness, and let me resize the brush. My brush was way too large, and let me remove it from here and little bit from here, okay, and over here, and from this area as well, okay, little bit from here. And once you are happy with the result, turn all the layers on, okay. And let me quickly save my work, and I'm going to rename it as underwater music, okay. And that way it is going to save my work for me. And let's change its layer blend mode to normal and lower down the opacity, something like this, so that it gets sort of mixed with the background. All right, and let's bring in our another sea background, and this one would be this one. So I'll drag it over here, and let me place it over here, or drag it to resize it, something like this, okay, and press enter. And let me bring it down, something like this, and lower down its opacity so that it looks like that this is a underwater scene. And let's refine it by pressing Ctrl T, resize it, something like this, okay. And let me increase the opacity of it once again, and create a layer mask over here, and come over here and select the gradient tool, and from this drop down menu make sure you select the gradient editor, this preset which is black and white, and over here select the radial gradient and click and drag it outside. And that way what will happen, it is going to remove it from the center, and everywhere it is going to remain the same. All right, but at the moment this one is not looking pleasing, so I'll drop down its opacity little bit, okay, and I'm going to add some blue hue to it, or green hue, so that it looks like it is underwater. So I'm going to create a color balance adjustment layer, and make sure it is clipped to this layer, all right, this fish layer. And let's add little bit cyan, little bit green, okay, and now you can see it has started to mix with the background. All right, and let's target the shadows and add cyan, green, and let's add blue, okay. And let's target the highlight this time again, cyan, and then green, and then blue, okay. And now this one is looking good. All right, and now come over here on the turtle panel, or the turtle layer. So let me rename it turtle so that I can easily identify it. And this one is the guitarist, or ITARIST. I think I have written the correct spelling. And this one is the fish, okay, and this one is under water scene, okay. And let's come over here on the turtle panel, and we are going to add some lighting to this. All right, so what we can do, as you can see at the moment, this lighting is coming from this side. In this image, this guitarist has light on this side, and here we have the shadows. So, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to add light on the turtle. So for that purpose, let's create a blank layer and press Alt or Option, and take your mouse or hover your mouse between these two layers, and it is going to show us the pointed arrow. And once we'll click it, it is going to linked or clipped with this layer, turtle layer. And whatever we'll do over here, it would be reflected only on the turtle layer. And now let's fill it with the 50% gray. So for that, we'll press Shift and press backspace. and from this drop down menu we'll select the 50% gray and we'll press OK. And now it has been filled with 50% gray. As you can see, now it has only affecting the turtle layer. And let's change its layer blend mode to overlay and come over here on the dose and burn tool. So select dose tool. You can choose it from here, or you can simply press O on your keyboard and start painting on the turtle or on the edge of the turtle. Okay. And that way this area is going to be little darker. And let's increase the opacity of turtle little bit further, maybe something like this. Okay, and paint little bit on this side wherever there are highlights. And now let's choose the burn tool and start burning on the area which is darker. Okay, so that we will be having lots of detail in the image. And alright, I was trying to paint over here, but I forgot that it has been clipped to the turtle layer only, so it is going to affect only the turtle layer. Alright, so you have to be mindful of all these, because these are small things which you will learn over the time. Otherwise you will feel what happened, why it is not painting on this side. Alright, and let's add little bit light over here. So for that purpose we'll create a new blank layer. Okay, and we'll press D on our keyboard to make this palette color as default color, and again we'll press Ctrl backspace or Alt backspace to fill it with the black color. And now we'll go to the filter and select render and select difference clouds, and it is going to create cloud for us. And now we'll right click and select convert to smart object, and now we'll go to the filter and select blur and choose radial blur. Okay, where it is? Okay, over here, and choose blur method to zoom and increase its size, something like this, and drag this center to the up, and we'll press OK, and it is going to create this kind of effect. And now let's change its layer blend mode to soft light, or let's try screen. Screen is way too much. Overlay. Okay, overlay is also looking good. And now let's increase this blur even further. So let's increase it something like this, and we'll press OK. And now this one is looking good. Okay, and we need to remove it from some parts, so we'll create a layer mask. We'll come over here on the brush tool and make sure you have the soft edge brush with zero hardness. Opacity should be between 20 to 30%. all right, and paint it little bit over here. Okay, with the black color, so that it gets removed from some area. And you can check the result by turning it on and off. And now let's add little bit splash over here. So for that purpose we'll bring in another splash background. So let's bring this one over here and increase its size, press enter, and take the lasso tool and make a selection of this area. Okay, and press this layer mask button, and it is going to mask it out, this area, and change its layer blend mode to, let's say, lighten, and it is going to remove this color. Or if it is not, let's try a different one. Darker, not working. Lighten. Okay, lighten is somewhat working. Or overlay, no, overlay is not working. So let's choose the lighten. Okay, and zoom in further and take the brush tool and select the mask, and with the black color and opacity between 45 or 50%, and start removing this gray color. Okay, or you can make your own selection and remove all of this from it. Okay, and now right click and select convert to smart object. Okay, and let's press Ctrl T or Command T, resize it and drag it over here and make this larger and this one even smaller, and place it something like this over here, and press Alt or with the move tool click and drag it so that it creates a duplicate copy of it, and drag it once again, and that way we'll be having a splash. So we'll press Ctrl T and give it a little variance. Okay, press enter, and now we have something like a splash. Okay, and we need to add little bit dots of splash over here as well. So for that purpose what we are going to do, we will use one brush, but before that we'll select all these layers, press Ctrl G to group them together and call at as splash. Okay, and this one as light. Okay, and let's create a new document and take it of any size, create a new, and take the brush tool from here. Okay, and choose any brush with the black color. Let's paint it with 100% opacity, and one size would be larger. Okay, and then one with the 100% opacity, and this time we'll paint little bit something like this. Okay, and this has to be little bit random. Okay, and now we'll go to the image and edit, and we'll select define brush preset, and we'll rename it or leave it as it is, and we'll press OK, and it is going to create a brush for us. So let me just show you. If we'll paint, it is going to create this kind of a result. All right, so we need to modify it. So we'll come over here on the brush settings, and over here we'll increase its spacing a little bit, and click on the shape dynamics and increase its size 100% so that it get variance. As you can see the preview over here, and we can change its angle. So if we'll paint, it is going to give us something like this result. Okay, and come over here on the scattering and check both axes, and let's scatter it little bit. Okay, that way it is going to scatter little bit. Let's drag it down and come over here on the transfer and increase the opacity, so that way it is going to increase the flow as well, and that way it is going to paint some with the darker and some with the light. Okay, and once you are happy with your brush, you can click on this icon and select new brush presets and name it as particles, or you can name it whatever you want, and I'm going to rename it. Okay, and close this document. We don't need it, and now create a new blank layer over here, and make sure you select the white color. Okay, sorry, and with the lower opacity, let's say this one, and makes the size of the brush very small, and start painting over here. Okay, so that it gets some kind of a bubbles. Okay, and if you want, increase the opacity as well, and that way we can create or fake the water bubbles. Okay, okay, and if you want, you can paint in over here as well, and little bit over here. Okay, and if you want, you can randomly do it on other areas as well. And if you want, you can lower down the opacity so that the result does not look that hard. Okay, and now let's add the final color grading and one light source, little bit more light on this side. So we'll call these as bubbles. Okay, and let's create a new blank layer and we'll select the brush, which is the soft edge brush. Okay, so we'll come over here, select this soft edge brush with 0 hardness, and let's say opacity 100%, and this time we'll take this color. Okay, and increase its shadow or the its lightness from here, and increase the size of the brush and paint it over here, and that way it is going to add some light. And now we'll press Ctrl T or Command T, and by pressing Alt and Shift and dragging one of the corner, so it is going to spread up this shadow everywhere. Okay, or this light, sorry, everywhere, and press Enter. And now you can see it is looking more realistic and more wonderful. And if you want, you can lower down the opacity if you don't want that much of the result. Okay, and now we'll do the final color grading. So for that purpose, we'll come over here on the adjustment panel over here and select the solid color, and this would be our solid color. Let's take it something like this, and we'll press OK. Change its layer blend mode to, let's say, color, and we'll lower down its opacity if we want. And you can, if you want to change its color, just double click it and choose another color, maybe something like this if you want. Okay, or if you want little darker result, you can do that as well, but I think I will go for this and press OK. And you can check the difference by turning it on and off, and as you can see at the moment it is too much, so I'll lower down this opacity even further. Or let's try soft light. Soft light is also looking good. Yes, soft light is working fine because it has not changed the color of the turtle, because if I choose this color blend mode, it is going to take away the colors from the turtle, which I don't want. So I'll go for the soft light. So soft light works best in this scenario. All right, and let's add some vignette little bit over here. So we'll create a new blank layer, come over here on the gradient panel, and from this drop down menu or from this gradient editor or gradient preset, we'll select this black to transparent gradient. This is a default one, you will find it over here, and we'll press OK. And make sure you select this linear gradient style and click and drag it up, and that way it is going to add some darkness, and will lower down its opacity, something like this. And by turning it on and off, you can see the difference or the result. Okay, and this is a name which I want to change, so I'll create a new layer and choose the stamp tool, or let's say this one, spot healing brush tool, and make sure you select the sample all layers and paint it over it. Okay, and it is going to take away that name for us. And if you want, you can remove this frame as well. Yes, and this one as well. Okay, now this one is looking good, and this is our final result. And if you want, you can add a little bit sharpening to this as well. So for sharpening purpose, we'll press Alt Shift Control E, so it is going to create a merge copy of it. And if you are using Mac, you can press Command Option Shift E. And now we'll change this layer blend mode to linear light, and then go to the filter and select other and select high pass, and make sure you select the radius around 1 or 1.5, and we'll press OK. And you can see now it has sharpened this image entirely. Okay, and if you don't want that much of result, you can either change the layer blend mode to overlay, or you can lower down the opacity, or you can change it to the soft light as well if you want the less sharpening. Okay, so now it is giving us the less sharpening. But I'll go for the, let's say, linear light, and I will lower down its opacity, something like this. Okay, and let's add some contrast. So we'll click on the brightness and contrast and increase the contrast option. Okay, and that way it is going to add a little bit contrast. And let's try the vibrance. So I'll click on the vibrance and increase it something like this, and this way it is looking even further. It has made slightest of difference, but yes, it is looking good. So this is our final result, as you can see. So thank you so much. I hope you have learned something very useful from this tutorial, and if you like today's episode, please don't forget to hit the like button, and please do subscribe to my channel for more videos. And if you have any question or if you want to share something with me, you can always leave that in the comment section below. I would also request you to join my private Facebook group, which is called The Lens of You. You can find a link to that in the description section below. And if you want to support this channel, you can buy my pro tutorials with huge discount, and there is a link to that as well in the description section below. So thank you so much. Bye bye. See you in the next episode.